Okay, in this tutorial, we're going to go over some important terminology when naming different types of polynomials. So whenever you're looking at vocabulary to name a polynomial, there are two specific parts that are always going to go in the name of a polynomial. First one is based on its highest degree or its highest exponent within the polynomial. And the second one is based on just how many total number of terms are within the polynomial, how many things are being added and subtracted together. So if your highest exponent or your highest degree is a 0, that just means you don't have a variable. You just have a number by itself. That is going to be called a constant. Now, if you have a highest degree or a highest exponent of 1, you're not going to see that 1 because 1s are never written as exponents. If it is invisible, it's going to be a 1. So if that's your highest one you got, it is going to be a linear polynomial. If your highest exponent is 2, it is quadratic. If your highest exponent is 3, cubic. So these terms you should be somewhat familiar with, but may not have known that they are tied to the specific. I know we've talked about linear expressions before. Later on, we will talk about quadratic and cubic a bit more, but you may have heard those things in the past. 4 may be a new one. It is quartic. C-U-A-R-T-I-C. That is, if your highest degree is a 4, it is a quartic polynomial. And then anything 5 or above, there are specific names for those, but you don't need to be familiar with them because they're not that common. Those are just going to be called higher order polynomials. Later on, you will need to know each of those 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe even up to 10. So now for the number of terms, you're going to count how many things are being added or subtracted, how many things are being separated, and depending on what number you get, that's what it's going to be called. So if there is one term being added, it is a monomial. Mono means 1. 2 is a binomial. The prefix bi, like bicycle or bicep, tells you that there are 2 things. So 3 is trinomial. And then anything 4 or above is just going to be a polynomial. Again, there are names for 4 and above, but these are the only ones that you need to be familiar with. And it always is named in this order. So you always go with the degree first, then the number of terms second. So for this first example, negative r to the 3rd power, we have a degree of 3, so we're going to use the word cubic. And we have one singular term because nothing is being added or subtracted, so this is a cubic monomial. Negative 4s to the 3rd plus s to the 4th minus s to the 9th minus s to the 5th plus 4s. We got a whole bunch of stuff in here. So the first thing we need to determine is what our highest degree is. We have a 3, got a 4, 9, and a 5. Our highest is going to be that 9 right there. 9 is your highest. So it is going to be a higher order. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we just do a higher order polynomial. If you are curious to find out what any of the higher ones are, just a simple Google check for polynomial names based on degree, polynomial names based on terms. Some of the higher challenge problems that you may get to in your IXL may require you to know what those are, but this is at least a good start. And again, a simple internet check would be able to tell you what the next ones are.